guys. I was going to say good morning then, but it's actually gone 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so good afternoon. Today's video is going to be a little bit different to what I would usually do. It's kind of a vlog, but with the main purpose of me showing you one thing in particular, and that is me rearranging my bookcase because it's a complete mess. I've got a lot of new books recently, so I need to try and make space for those. But I've also got 2 new bookshelves, which I will show you in just a second, that I want to try and arrange nicely. So I'm going to show you all of that as I rearrange it, and I'll just be talking along with you during that process as I go through making a massive mess with all of my books in my living room to hopefully an organised and nice looking finished product. So I'm going to go and make myself a coffee first, and then we'll get started. So I thought I was just going to come out here and make myself a normal coffee, but now I can't decide what to have. So I've got these Nescafe Gold double chocolate mochas, which aren't my favourite, but they're okay, so I do still need to get through those. My favourite at the moment is the coconut latte, which I have already had one of these this morning, so I don't know whether to have another one. And I then just found at the back of the cupboard that I've still got some salted caramel green teas, which I actually thought I was out of, so I don't know whether to have one of those instead. The other option actually is just to have a normal cup of tea, because yesterday I picked up this adorable little mug from Primark. This is Chip from Beauty and the Beast, and these mugs were really hard to get hold of. I actually wasn't looking for this. I gave up with any hope of finding them because everyone just kept saying they were selling out so quickly because they're only £5. But I went into Primark yesterday and they had one, so I had to pick him up. So I don't know whether to use that and have a normal cup of tea for the first time in this mug either. And then amongst all of that, I've also got my Shadow Singer tea by Bookish Teas, which I want to have a cup of as well. So in the end, I went with a double chocolate mocha. I just sort of picked at random. This probably wouldn't be my first choice as in which one is my favourite, but it will do for now, and hopefully it'll give me a boost of energy to rearrange this bookcase. So these are the 2 new bookshelves that I mentioned earlier. My husband put these up earlier this week and I still need to fill them with something. I'm going to try and keep them with just nice books on them. I'm thinking possibly maybe this top one here could be my pretty classics books, like the ones that I really want to keep nice, which I will obviously read, but just my nicer looking ones, because obviously they're on display a bit more than they are on my bookshelf. And I'm thinking maybe for this one here, I don't know, maybe a TBR shelf. I'm not quite sure yet, we'll see as we go along, but this is what this corner looks like. So this is my armchair, edge of the TV there, and then I've got my flowers and my little table here, which at the minute has got a few different library books on as well, which I will go through as well. I need to find a place to put library books because they normally end up in just a little pile on the floor. So I'm going to try and rearrange and find a way to use these shelves. So this is what my bookcase looks like at the moment. It's a complete mess, as you can see. I can't film anything in front of this bookcase at the minute, and it just needs a really good tidy up. I've just taken all of the books off of my bookshelf, and are you ready to see the mass load of books that are currently on my living room floor? So this is what we're dealing with all of these. And they're in quite big piles as well. Like, I don't think this video actually does it justice because they're in piles of about 4 or 5, some of them. So there's a lot of books here that I need to organise. So I think before I start putting anything back on any shelves, I'm going to group them how I think I'm going to have them on the shelves. Okay, so I've kind of grouped these books. So these ones here are all the ones that I would say are classics. Got some poetry and some children's classics and some adult classics as well. So they're all there. Then I've got 3 piles of the Zoella Book Club books over there. These are all of my Cecilia Ahern books, which don't even fit into shot. There we go. Then I've got all my Lauren Conrads. I've got a little pile of Christmas books, which are going to go far away as it's July. These are sort of random adult books, and I'm actually going to go through some of those. I might not keep all of the ones that are in that pile because some of them I didn't like very much and some of them are just really old and I'm sure someone else would love to read them, so I'll probably donate some. Then over here I've got, these are my YouTuber books. So I've got Fleur de Force at the bottom, that's her glam guide, that was her first book. Then I've got Love Tanya, which was her first book. And then I've got Louise Pentland's Wild Like Me, which I did a review of, so if you want to watch that, then I will leave a link in the description box for that. Then I've got sort of a random pile of books here as well. These are my hardback ones, which I'll probably group all together because they don't really fit into a category. Then I've got my sort of contemporary chick lit adult books there. And then I've got my YA fantasy-ish books there. And then these are the rest of my YA books there as well. Then I've got a couple of random books here as well. This is the Eclipse book, which is written by Tom Holland's dad. And then I've got Alfie Bowe's autobiography there. And then I've got my Harry Potter books there. They're obviously not all my Harry Potter books because my other ones are boxed up somewhere, either at my mum's or at my nan's. And then I've got a little pile of library books there as well, which actually that top one I need to return because I've already finished it. So I've now made a complete mess with all of these books on the floor, and although they're in piles, it's not particularly helped me. So I'm now going to have a look through them, decide which ones I'm going to put on the 2 bookshelves above my armchair, and then I will go through any that I think I'm not going to keep, which I wasn't actually planning on doing today, but there's no point in me putting them onto the bookshelf now if I'm pretty certain that I'm not going to read them again and that I'm not bothered about keeping hold of them. They can go to someone else that will enjoy reading them. There's a lot of books here actually that I'm sure other people will enjoy reading. We have a box of books at work that people just bring books in from home and then just dip in and out of them when we read at work, so I will probably take those in and put them there. And then the rest of them, we will come up with a new system for how this bookcase is going to be organised, and we will get started with putting them all back. I've done the 2 bookshelves above my armchair. This took me a little while to decide which one was going to go next to these Puffin in Bloom ones. I think I was always going to put the Puffin in Bloom ones up there, but I went for Cinderella because I put this little gold pot there and I just thought that the gold on the Puffin in Bloom symbols here with the gold there and this gold all look quite nice together, and these books here still add a little bit of colour. And then here, this is kind of a TBR shelf. This is going to have flowers in it at some point. I just haven't got any at the minute that I'm going to put in there. So that will have like a little vase on there. I don't know whether to buy fresh flowers each time and put some in, or whether to just buy a few fake ones and then just keep them clean. This actually started off as a YA TBR and an adult TBR, but I wanted them to be evenly in the heights of them, so I changed this a little bit. So these 3 here are all ones for the Zoella and Friends book club. I've actually already read History Is All You Left Me, but I want to reread it because I want some points that I can write about when I do the review. So then this one here is for the Foils book club that I go to. This is the book for the month of August, so I'm going to get going with that soon. And then this one came through only yesterday, so this is Charlotte Says, and this is the prequel to Frozen Charlotte, which was in the second round of the Zoella book club, if you took part in that. And then these are some of the books that I got for my birthday, and then this is the one that I got signed by Giovanna when I met her at a book signing back in February, I believe. So they're just some books there that I want to read. I have already started The Sun Is Also a Star, but I ended up putting it down because we got started with the Zoella and Friends book club, so I'm going to come back to that one. So that is what these two shelves look like, and now we need to get on with the actual bookcase. Just finished putting all of my books back on my bookshelf. I ended up taking a book off of one of these shelves from the corner there and putting it back on here just because I needed one more book to fill up this middle shelf and I didn't want to leave a gap. So I'm just going to show you what I've done. A lot of it actually is sort of the same. I've just had a better sort out in terms of colour and blocking authors and things like that. So I'll show you what I've done. So this top shelf is pretty much the same. These are all of my Cecilia Ahern books and then my Lauren Conrad ones. I am aware that there was meant to be 6 of these Lauren Conrad books because I am missing one of them. I didn't want to put it up here because it's a paperback one that I have and the rest of them are all hardback, so I need to get the hardback one to replace it so that I have all 6 as hardback. I've then got her other books here and then a few other random ones at the end here for now because they're hardback as well. I haven't thrown any of them out, well not thrown out because I was never going to throw them out, but I haven't donated any or pulled any out that I'm going to give to anyone else at the moment. I'm just going to hang on to them for now because it was just easier just to fill up the bookshelves instead. And then this one here is basically all of my YA and my contemporary adult books, and then my fantasy ones at the end, which are my favourite series. I've rearranged what I used to have here because this used to be all of the Zoella book club books and I used to have it as round 1, round 2, and then I would have put round 3 in, but I wanted to break the colours up a little bit more and I wanted to put certain authors back together, so I took The Sun Is Also a Star down off of the other shelf and put it with Everything so that both of Nicola Yoon's book are together. And then I did the same with All the Bright Places because this used to be over here because that was in the first round of the book club, and then Holding Up the Universe ended up being like way over here, so I've grouped them together. And then I moved Billy and Me out of the Zoella book club section as well because I had Always With Love, which is the continuation of Billy and Me, so I wanted those together. And also The One We Fell in Love With, although that was in the book club, they're technically not YA books, they are adult books, so I've moved those up this end. And then rather than keeping them all in which round of the book club they're in, I've just broken up the colours a bit more instead. Then this shelf down here is my classics shelf, so everything has still sort of been left in the same place. I was going to do this shelf in height order, but then I changed my mind. So got a few children's classics and then the more adult classics in there as well. And then after my classics I've got a few other books here that don't fit into the classic section, but because they're hardback they sort of blend in quite well. And I've got my poetry book, and then just these ones on the end here. I do know that this Harry Potter one is not with this Harry Potter one, but because the other one is a play script and this one isn't, I wanted them separate because I'm hoping I'll be able to get the other Harry Potter books and put them on the shelf with this one as well. So that is all of my books sorted. There are a couple behind this back one here, which just sort of didn't fit in, but they're fine at the back for now. This one obviously is all double backed, but there are a lot of different books behind there, and there are some ARC copies that I was given there, like proof copies to read, that are great books, but obviously you don't really want on display because they're not finished covers. And there's nothing behind those ones on the bottom shelf now, which I'm most happy about because that bottom shelf was the one that got most messy. So now that all of these are done, I'm now going to put the finishing touches on and put my candles and bits and pieces like that back on. So I've put all of my little add-ons on the shelf now. I've got my A and my Z back on there, even though it's not in alphabetical order, but I still like having those there. I've then left all of the Zoella Book Club stuff there the same way it was before because I quite like having them near those books. Got my candle in the same place. I've still got Baby Groot down there. I've put my Alfie Boe and Michael Ball signed CD cover next to the Alfie Boe book. Then I've moved this candle from the top shelf down to there. And then I have still got this photo frame up here, but I'm not sure what I think of having it there now because these few books here on the end, they weren't there before, and these used to be able to sit back a little bit more and at an angle, and I don't think I like it straight on like that, so I don't know how long that's going to stay there, but for now we'll leave it there. The one book that I haven't put onto my bookshelf is Shelter by Sarah Franklin, and that is not because there's a problem with it, it's because I want to give this one to my nan, and I know that if I put this one on the bookshelf that I'll completely forget to give it to her, and I've already told her she can have it when I'm done, which I am now, so I'm going to leave this one out so I can give this to her later on. Just realised that I've done something very, very silly, and that is I've put the book that I'm currently reading on my bookshelf, so I'm now going to completely destroy that neatness by taking one book back out, but I should be finished with it by the end of today, hopefully, if not definitely by tomorrow, so it'll be able to go back in there anyway. So I didn't really think of that. I should have put that on my TBR shelf up there, and then I would have been able to have gotten to that a lot easier, but well, I didn't think about it, so I'm going to go and get that out and carry on reading it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit different, but I just thought I'd show you a little bit more of how I was reorganising my bookshelf rather than just doing a quick sped up version that I did at the beginning of the year. So I hope you liked it. If you want a bookshelf tour where I go through all of my books, then do let me know. I was thinking about doing one of them maybe towards the end of the year, just when I've got a little bit more time maybe, because that will be a long video to film. But I hope you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you again soon in another video. Bye!